Hi everybody, I'm Robert LaRocca, you know me. Today we're ready for part 3 in our exploration of the sequel to the Omen, Damien, Omen 2. And oh man, are we going to have fun today. We start where we left off in part 2 of the analysis with Paul promising Rich that he will take care of the P-83 unit. Yeah, he's going to take care of it all right. Then we cut to a classroom at Davidson Academy where the boys are passing around an unflattering cartoon of the teacher. Damien gets his turn at the drawing and adds a mustache even though the teacher doesn't have one. The teacher calls Damien to the front of the class to embarrass him, as teachers like to do. But this is the Antichrist, and Damien is ready to show the teacher a thing or three. The teacher starts asking Damien some history questions about Napoleon's campaign. Unsurprisingly, Damien knows all about it. Evil forces love war and conflict. It's a passion for Damien. The teacher is surprised, but not prepared to give up so easily. He begins to ask more questions about historical dates. Damien again has no trouble producing the correct information, and Damien starts to enjoy the disturbing effect his prowess has on the teacher. The teacher becomes flustered and tries to get Damien to answer at least one question wrong, rapid-firing every query he can think of, finally settling on famous deaths in history. Well, now you're talking the Antichrist language, baby. Damien doesn't even have to phrase his response in the form of a question, so this is child's play. The teacher finds the situation upsetting because he sees that this is not normal. There's something profoundly disturbing about this thing that's standing in front of him. And Damien seems more than happy to let his dark powers be known. We can see sweat forming on the temples of the teacher, and Damien pours on the cheap heat. It's no longer about humiliating a student to punish them. This is like walking into a nightmare. The teacher is flailing one question after another. Finally, Neff happens to see that Damien is attracting too much attention and calls him off. The teacher is mentally broken, of course. He probably decides on a career change. Sergeant Neff pulls Damien to the side. Mark is confused, stopping just short of following Damien out the door to investigate. Neff asks Damien what he was doing. Damien replies that he was just answering the questions. And Neff says, "Baloney, you were showing off and calling attention to yourself. The time will come when everyone will know who you are, but not now. In the meantime, read the book of Revelations in the Bible. That will explain everything." Here, at the end of the day, we see Damien has his Bible, preparing to get to the bottom of his situation finally. The marching band descends the staircase. Damien watches as Marching Mark rocks the trumpet parts angelically. Damien situates himself comfortably on his bed and begins to read. Of course, it's a whole bunch of language about the beast from the book of Revelations. As I mentioned in part 2, there's a lot of mishmash, pulling different parts from biblical allegory, knitting together the Antichrist, beast, and Satan, when in fact they're not the same and not connected. Besides that, it's all written in code and symbolism, and that can't be interpreted literally. Nonetheless, like many kids who watched this movie and dug out the Bible to check out Revelations, Damien is convinced he sees an obvious truth. It's unsettling, as horror movies should be. But I must say that this one had a detrimental effect on our society, I believe. I don't think it was intentional. I just think that in their eagerness to create a compelling and frightening narrative, the writers used perhaps a bit too much artistic license. So of course, after reading about the number of the beast, remember in Hebrew each letter is also a number. That's why gematria works. So a number could represent a lot of different names. But here we see that lovely, shocking, literal interpretation of the 3 sixes, the perfect birthmark for the ultimate evil personified. And holy Moses, Damien feels like he just dropped some very bad acid. Mark, still holding his trumpet, calls out, "What's wrong?" Damien runs from his horrific discovery. Neff observes Damien from the window. This kid can run. This little part reminds me of Meatballs when the kid is running the marathon through the woods. Woody the Rabbit. Damien runs all the way to the edge of the pier and cries out, "Why me?" And if I had a nickel for every time I've wondered that about working in IT. With the climax of the movie having been achieved, Damien is calm and has accepted his call to action in the hero's journey model. And that's it for this episode. I wanted to separate this from the rest because it's pretty fundamental to the story, and there's a couple of good chunks of media theory thrown in for added effect. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to make sure you don't miss part 4, in which I will once again mercilessly dissect this film which caused mass delusion. All for you, dear viewers, because I love you.